size, strength, speed, power, mobility, flexibility are the various dimensions of lifting. How you train completely depends on what your goals are. If powerlifting is your goal, then moving the highest weight possible on squat, bench and deadlift is what you should be aiming for. Training only for size can make you rigid and tight. Training only for strength runs a higher risk for injury. Have a conditioning day. Do 20 to 30 second holds on stretches for increasing flexibility. Try box jumps for explosive power. Kettlebell swings are really great for force production. Variety can lead to fun workouts, helping you stay consistent. As always, measure, modify, master.
Hello and welcome to Hyderabad's first ever podcast channel that focuses on the now this. And today we have with us the founder and force behind Metamorphic, Mr. Shiva Kondapalli. Hello Shiva, how are you doing?
Hey Omar, I'm doing great.
So tell us a little bit about Metamorphic, the idea behind it and how it happened to you.
Well, the idea behind Metamorphic is essentially longevity in fitness. So it's all about measure, modify, master. So I see a lot of people trying to get fit. I see them trying to eat healthy, but it all seems to be broken and fragmented because somebody who's eating well is not really understanding the importance of working out. Somebody who's working out isn't really sleeping well. People don't know what's going on in their bodies because they're not getting any blood work done. So what I'm trying to do is bridge the gap by 3 M's. That's what Metamorphic stands for, which is measure, modify, master. So if you can measure your biomarkers, modify your habits, you can master your life, okay, and see to it that you can add 5 years, if not more, of healthy aging. So that towards the end of your life, if not more, you can actually live without disease. Probability of having these really bad diseases that we essentially end up getting.
Well, that's a great perspective, and I'm sure it's going to put all things into perspective. So tell us a little bit about your background and where you hail from.
I'm from Hyderabad, born and brought up right here. My parents are from Hyderabad. I'm an IT guy. I did my master's in computer science and I train machine learning models.
Great.
So I like my nerdy math. I like all of that. You know, I kind of like do my training in the day and then later on when I'm coaching people in the gym, I'm trying to create another model.
Very impressive.
I've been training for almost about 4 or 5 years. In addition to that, I also picked up a certification when it comes to coaching and training. So I love this. I love training and I think it's one of the best things that somebody can do for themselves. Not just from a physical health standpoint, but also from a mental health standpoint, if you think of it. Because if you're really going to the gym and working out hard, you aren't just building discipline in your body, but you're also building discipline to be able to do something else that you want to start or want to achieve. Because you know that if you're consistent with that, you will achieve that if you've achieved a good physique.
That's a really great insight on all things fitness, and I'm really glad someone could elaborate it so well for us. So coming to this topic, which is kind of mythical in my perception, is the difference between fat loss and weight loss. I think a lot of people in my knowledge have also been wanting to crack this or burst this myth for a very long time now. How would you like to elaborate it? Please make things easy for us.
It's actually pretty simple if you think about it. What is weight loss? Like people think I want to lose weight.
Correct.
Right? They go on crash diets. They don't eat properly. They do a lot of cardio. You're losing weight, sure, but are you also losing muscle? And why would you want to do that? So if you're seeing the scale go down, you want to lose fat. You don't want to lose muscle. You don't want to lose bone density because your muscle is what is going to protect you as you age. We lose about 3 to 8% of muscle to the age of 30, and after 40, 50, 60, this accelerates and you end up having lots of problems again later. So you really don't want to lose muscle, you want to lose fat. And that's the difference between fat loss and weight loss. In order for that to happen, a very important thing that we need to do, which people are doing these days, and that's great, okay, the awareness is something that's there, but it's not yet completely there, is resistance training. So you want to couple it with a lot of resistance training. Resistance training is just a fancy term for lifting weights. And you want to see to it that you're in a calorie deficit with a good amount of protein. Now you can go into the quantitative estimates in there, but that's the start at least. So that what happens is that your body is getting a signal where you're using your muscles to lift weights in the gym. So it's like, I can't lose muscle, but I'm eating less. So where do I lose that? Where do I compensate the extra energy from? I'm going to burn fat. And this has to be done in a consistent way for a long period of time. That's where you lose fat, build muscle, and morph, which is, kind of like transform into a better version of yourself.
It's a thorough analysis on muscle building, fat loss, and weight loss. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of viewers understand the grind behind it better.
I hope so.
Yes, I hope so too. So another thing that I wanted to ask you was the difference between muscle retention and weightlifting.
Muscle retention and weightlifting. So lifting weights is essentially what is known as I previously spoke about, is resistance training. And what you're doing there is you're building your muscles. When you start off, you got to build your muscle, and to build your muscle, you have to see to it that you're lifting somewhere around, well, research essentially says 5 to 50 repetitions. And it doesn't really matter which rep range you're using, if you're doing bicep curls or if you're doing your shoulder press, whatever exercise you're doing, what matters is you're going to failure. So failure is when you're not able to lift a weight anymore. Close to failure. You don't have to completely go to failure every time. The art of going to failure also is something that is learned as you keep training for a longer period of time, and you can actually milk that range, that last 2 reps or last 3 reps that you're going to, right? But before, you could essentially just be consistent and do that, and you will build muscle. So that's the weightlifting aspect of it, where you are progressively overloading, as it is called. What is progressive overload here? Progressive overload is simply seeing to it that either the number of reps that you lift in the gym, okay, for a particular weight, and the weight itself, or even the sets, okay, that you're doing. There is some level of increase in each metric over time. It doesn't have to be every week. It will be every week or every 2 weeks, or every time you kind of like go hit the gym when you're a beginner. Of course, if you lock in to some extent, if you're a beginner. But if you're more advanced, then it's going to be far more difficult for you to kind of like, overload. But you'll get there once you're an advanced lifter. You have kind of like become mentally tough, or you should have at least become mentally tough, where even if you're not seeing that progress in the gym for many sessions, you're still at it. And that's what's important. Muscle retention is just retaining the muscle that you've built. And that is when you can, if you still don't want to build any more muscle, that requires very little effort. So what I tell my clients sometimes is, if you want to train, at least lock in for about 2 years or 3 years. Train as hard as you can. After that, you could probably get away with as little as training twice a week. 2 days of a full body session with like perhaps 3 sets or 4 sets is more than enough for you to maintain what you're actually doing. And couple that with, let's say, flexible eating, right, where you're choosing healthy options even as you travel, and you have a really good body. You would be healthy. You don't have to kill yourself at the gym. You've balanced your lifestyle, right, with seeing to it that you are not cutting away your social life with friends, and at the same time you're able to maintain a good, physique. And most importantly, maintaining that sort of a balance is going to see to it that you're aging healthily.
I think that answers pretty much all the questions people may be having regarding muscle retention, muscle building. I'd like to also ask you, for the viewers, as to what a nerd, as you call yourself, does in their downtime.
What do I do in my downtime? I do a lot of things. One is, of course, as I said, I try to kind of understand a little bit of math that goes around with regards to ML models. But these days I have been really fond of taking long walks. Of course, I enjoy going out and having food with my buddies and all. One thing that I really like is these long walks, right?
Self-introspection?
Park. It's not even self-introspection, just to the smallest amount of movement.
Correct.
Okay, that fixes so much. It really works wonders, is what I feel. And I think what people should kind of like do is perhaps, not that they should do it, but is to not scroll while you're walking also.
Correct.
Just look at the trees or something.
I think you might hit a pole if you scroll.
Right. Or you could, hopefully not. Multitasking, scrolling and
multitasking is very essential. Tell us about where you want to take Metamorphic, and how do you see Metamorphic doing in the future? Right. How much potential do you think Metamorphic has as an entity to build?
The potential is where we take it. Potential is always, the sky is the limit, how much you can dream and what you can do with it. But it's not just a question of the potential, but it's also a question of how important it is with regards to, let's say, for example, India being the diabetes capital of the world, India essentially being a place where we don't really give ourselves a lot of importance when it comes to lifting, when it comes to essentially eating right. And I think this happens because, we're all trying to basically live our lives. We're all trying to do the best that we can. I had a client of mine, okay, he was in his he was 25 or 26, and he gave me this really beautiful insight, okay, and I'd like to actually take that forward. That actually connects into what I want to do with Metamorphic. which is that he was 25, 26, 27 or something like that, in his 20s, late 20s. And he really wanted to lock in. And he would really come and be like, I'm going to train very bad. It's okay if I make less money or if I spend money now on training as well, because the real money that I'm going to make, let's say, I mean, not that money is the be all and end all, but everybody wants to kind of like be successful, is later on in the 40s or 50s. Now, if I train well hard now, I will be healthier at that particular point in time for me to give my best. And when I retire, I will be able to actually enjoy my wealth rather than use that wealth to go around hospitals. And I thought that's great. What I want to do that connects is to kind of raise awareness of the importance of lifting. Because lifting isn't just a question of having muscles, okay, having these veins and everything and just kind of like, posting it on social media and stuff. Resistance training reduces the risk for diabetes. It reduces the risk for cancer. There are certain things called myokines, which are messenger molecules that our body releases when we contract muscles. These messenger molecules like irisin, interleukin, IGF, they are the ones that actually mediate increasing bone density, regulating our metabolism. And now there's even research that the gut microbiome, which is a very important organ that essentially talks to our brain. In fact, the gut microbiome diversity increases when we work out. So working out is also good for our gut. So you see the amount of change that you're able to induce in your body through workouts is what I would like to get out there to clients, to people, okay, to understand that when you are working out, you are creating almost something like a biochemical factory in your body. And the amount of benefits that this has is incredible. You just have to work out twice or thrice a week, see to it that it's intense, and you can avoid so many things that happen in the future with regards to also. That's the more grown-up version of lifting is what I'd like to call it. And of course, if having bicep wins is something that's really your thing, I wanted bicep wins too. But as you age, and as I see, let's say for example, my friends of my own age circle, I'm 32 for example, go through things where they have knee pains.
That is very common.
In their early 30s.
You hit a burnout when you overtrain?
It's not about overtraining. This is not training at all. I have a bit of a contrarian option on this. And my contrarian view is that what most people call overtraining is not overtraining.
Okay.
Right.
It's training the wrong way.
Yes, exactly. That's you've hit the nail on the head. It's training in the wrong way. It's very difficult for people to overtrain because our bodies are very adaptable. You can train. I've trained when my body was a little sore as well. Your bodies can take it. Coming back to your question about where I want to take it forward is I want to take it forward with regards to essentially creating a complete longevity platform that is scientific, well-grounded, and gives people the knowledge and motivates them to kind of go out there and lift and live an active lifestyle. And I want to really also understand what exactly is going on in our bodies when we lift. The reason is because there are people who may not be able to lift. Okay, let's say talking about obese people. But if they could have the benefits through pharmaceutical interventions or something, okay, for only those cases where then they can get to lifting, it's going to be really brilliant because these molecules, okay, that our bodies are essentially secreting when we lift. Muscle is an endocrine organ, as I said. It's very nascent research. It's very nascent research and it's very interesting what's going on there. So fingers crossed, let's see how that goes. And right now, at least, it's about raising awareness and seeing to it that people lift the right way and start to kind of like give their bodies, their minds the respect that they kind of like deserve and treating it with respect.
That's a very good takeaway for all those viewers who will be watching this podcast, especially for those who planning to take on this journey or embark on this journey, if I may put it that way. I think it has definitely answered a lot of questions and it's burst a lot of myths for a lot of people who will be really happy to know there's so much that has been going on around Metamorphic and there is so much that Metamorphic has been building so far in terms of all things health and longevity per se.
Yeah, well, you see, this is a fantastic and really interesting journey that I've kind of like taken up. There is a lot of research also to be done. Now that I guess people are aware about it, it's the right time for me to take that step forward, do more research, raise more awareness, and see where that kind of like takes me. Always learning.
That's so much positivity, so much determination, so much enthusiasm, doing the talking. And what's your drill?
Measure, modify, master.
That's the way to go about it.
Thank you.
It was a great session with you.
It was a great session too.
Thank you for watching this podcast and thank you for living in the now with us.